we're not gonna be getting a live action Street Fighter. Now the thing is, the devs, the Street Fighter devs, were the ones that were talking about live action Street Fighter, kind of to promote the game. In my opinion, that's why they do it. Because in Japan, they like to do that a lot, to where they make an anime for a game, and the game promotes the manga, and the manga promotes the live action movie, and so on and so forth. Which is good. It's a good way to promote and make money off of different different platforms. But this one has been scrapped, which is sad, because I wanted to see it done. I haven't really seen a perfect fighting game live action adaptation. You know, it's very few, out there. And I got my thoughts on that. But let's get started here, because um, I want to make a list, and then I want to talk about my opinions on this news. Um, but yeah, it's not good news, but in a way, it is kind of good news, because I want him to do it right. So it is what it is. But in at my number one is Mortal Kombat. Um, I believe this movie came out in 1990. What is it? 1996. Let's see if it's on here somewhere. Well, no, they don't have the date. But I mean, who doesn't know this movie? This movie, you know, I mean, for me personally, it made a big impact in my life. Everybody knows the theme song. Mortal Kombat, something like that. I forgot. It's like a techno type of vibe going on, which at the time was a big deal. But Mortal Kombat, for those of you that don't know, is a game based on Enter the Dragon. But in their point of view, the main character wasn't Bruce Lee, which is Liu Kang. It was Johnny Cage, which was really in the minds of the devs, was Jean Claude Van Damme, and they wanted Jean Claude Van Damme to be the main character. But in their universe, Jean Claude Van Damme was an American, not a French guy. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff involved in that thing, where I think it's kind of weird that they were like, yeah, we like Enter the Dragon, but we just want the protagonist to be a white guy, and we want to make fun of the whole shebang, the whole thing. So I don't know, kind of weird. But my thing is, it was a good premise. It was a good idea for a game, and that's what it was supposed to be, in my opinion. Like, the vibes of Mortal Kombat have always been like, it's a it's kind of like they're making fun of Enter the Dragon, of the premise of Enter the Dragon, by inserting this American white actor who's a jerk, and he's kind of making fun of the whole thing. And he's teaming up with this guy Liu Kang, which is a Asian, like a Bruce Lee type character, and he's gonna be like, kind of like, the serious guy. I think that, just to keeping that in mind, it was gonna make a good movie, in my opinion. And I think they kind of did it here with this first movie. I think it was pretty good. I don't think it's the best. This is why it's so low in my list. A lot of people still think that this is the best video game movie, not just fighting game movie. Some people think this is the best video game adaptation of a video game. They just think it's the best. I don't think that. I mean, I've tried to rewatch it again. It doesn't hold up um, the same way that it used to. I mean, back in the day, yes, I liked it, um, but there was a lot of problems with it, in my personal opinion. Even back then, I was like, why is Scorpion just a jobber? Why is Scorpion and Sub Zero just jobbers? Um, it was weird. It was weird. They didn't have backstories. It was just, I don't know. It was all right, but I didn't think it was the best, in my personal opinion, like a lot of people do. A lot of people live their nostalgia. Is that how you say it? Yeah. They let them be ruled by that, which is, I guess, I understand it because there's a lot of stuff here in my list that are just purely nostalgic. But at the same time, we don't have that many fighting game movies adaptations to choose from. And some of the ones I didn't include in my list, they kind of suck. Like, for example, Tekken, right? There's one for Tekken. There's one for King of Fighters that sucks. I wouldn't recommend it at all. So there's a lot of fighting game adaptations out there, but they suck. They're not even worth mentioning. You know, and they're very few as well. So moving on to my number four is the new Mortal Kombat. Now this one should probably be higher up in the list, but it wasn't because some of the other ones that I like a lot more. But maybe in the future to be higher. And the reason it's not higher is because I think the new one's gonna be better. But this one was good. I mean, it wasn't perfect. There was a lot of things wrong with this um, live action adaptation, but I do think it's better than this one. Um, Simply because of the graphics, the action scenes. Is it perfect? No, of course it's not perfect. There's a lot of stupid shit that's involved in it. Like, for example, the guy we're following around, the main character. Who is he? Nobody knows who he is. He's a mystery character. I don't understand why he's the guy that was chosen. I think it should have been Johnny Cage instead. Which, by the way, Johnny Cage is going to be in the new one. Um, which I think is perfect. It should have been the first one. I don't. I feel like this one, Mortal Kombat from 2023, or was it 2024? I forgot. I think it was 2023. But this one was a waste of time. As far as not the movie itself, but as far as like the storyline goes, I don't understand. I don't understand where it falls or why it was even necessary. It's almost like it was just there. Like the beginning of the movie was really good with Scorpion, kind of like finding out the origin stories. So the premise was right there. But then they just lost the premise by adding this new guy who we don't even know who he is. Why is he here? It's just confusing. So it's not a perfect movie, but it definitely has a lot of good things in there. But I think they're gonna make it better with Mortal Kombat 2. I think Mortal Kombat 2 is probably gonna be 10 times better. But in my opinion, it's like, bro, why didn't you just do this one, dude? Why wasn't this one just number one, like the first one? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Um, but I'm hopeful for Mortal Kombat 2 because of the stuff that I saw online, like these pictures right here. Um, so yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty cool. But let's move on to my number three. By the way, take a look at this one. Pretty cool. My number three is Street Fighter. Street Fighter live action. The movie Street Fighter the movie. Um, you're probably wondering why it's so high up in my list. I mean, dude, like you got to understand how big this thing was back in the 90s. Back in the 90s, we used to have this thing called Blockbuster, and we used to go as a family. Me, my brother, my dad, and my sister would go to Blockbuster and check out movies, and everybody would get a movie. Like, which one do you want to see? I want to see this one. And we would all watch movies. It was a thing. It was a big deal, and it was like a family event. And I remember when this one came out in Blockbuster, bro, everybody was going crazy, bro, because it came out in the movies, but a lot of people didn't go to the movies. Some people did, some people didn't. But when it came out in Blockbuster, bro, it was packed, and the things they were out. Like nobody could get a copy. So that's my memory of Street Fighter, and I remember watching it and thinking, I was thinking it was the best thing ever. It wasn't exactly because the thing is, back in the 90s, we had a lot of live action adaptations of video games. Well, not a lot, but we had, for example, the Mario Brothers, the Mario Bros, or something like that. I forgot what it's called, but it's based on Mario and Luigi. The Nintendo characters, and I remember having fun trying to figure out what was what in the movie. Because I thought that was cool. I thought that it was cool that in the movie the mushrooms were small, and how Luigi looked, and how all of that shit was cool to me. I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? It's almost like an experiment for the directors to be like, what are we gonna do as the fireballs, or what are we gonna do as Koopas, or what are we gonna do as all of that shit. I don't know how to explain it. It was interesting to me. And when I saw Street Fighter, I was like, I wonder what they're gonna do for fireballs, for Hadoukens. I wonder what they're gonna do for this, that, and the other. And the fact that they weren't on there, a lot of the stuff that was in the Street Fighter game wasn't on there. I was like, well, that's kind of lame. But at the same time, it was funny because I took it as a funny movie for some reason, and it kind of worked for me at the time. I wasn't mad that there was no special moves or anything. I was kind of, to be honest, I was kind of happy in a way that there wasn't fights, because in my mind it was like nobody really fights in the real world, so why are these guys actually fighting? And the fact that they were constantly like, I know it's weird to say this, but the fact that they were constantly like, we're gonna fight, and they didn't fight, it was like, this is stupid. But it's stupid in a funny way, like in a fun way, because it was like, we're gonna fight now, and they cut, and I'm like, what? Bro, I don't know how to explain why I love this movie, but I do. I think they were making fun of Street Fighter, and I like it because they were doing that. I think they were making fun of the fact that these guys are Street Fighters. Like, Street Fighters, what do you mean? I don't know how to explain it. It's just one of these movies that I really like, and when I rewatch it, it kind of holds up in a way. Some things do, some things don't. But just the fact that these guys never fight, and they only have one big fight at the end, to me, it's like, it's funny. I don't understand. I don't know how to explain it. It's funny to me, and it's not like Street Fighter, but it's funny. I don't know how to explain it. It's just really funny to me. I had fun with the movie. I'm gonna try to rewatch it again. I feel like it's still gonna be funny, and it's still gonna be worthwhile. But that's my number three. But some honorable mentions, guys, because the thing about fighting game adaptations into movies is that we don't have a lot of live action ones, and a lot of them are animations. So you know, a lot of these next ones are gonna be mostly animations. So this one is pretty good, guys. Check all of these out. I already saw this one, um, The Legend of Scorpion, and this one I haven't seen, but it's one of the ones that I want to check out. But but yeah, let's move on to my number two, which is Street Fighter Alpha. And Street Fighter Alpha is not a live action. It's an animation, of course. Duh, no shit, right? But I think it's a pretty good one. It's not the best, and it probably should be lower in my list. But I remember really, really liking this one, and it's here purely for nostalgic reasons, and because of the fact that we don't really have a lot of fighting game adaptations. This is another one where I was like, he's gonna fight Akuma. He's gonna fight Akuma. He never fights Akuma. So I just want to see that fight with Akuma and Ryu finally. And I know it's gonna take a long time, even if they start doing it again, right? I know it's gonna take a long time for them to actually fight, because it's one of these fights that takes place way at the end of the storyline of Ryu. Like, Ryu storyline is long, and he gets to fight him somewhere towards the end. Yeah, I think he fights him before, but he loses, and then he gets a rematch later on. And he becomes more successful against Akuma, and but in this fight, in this movie, it never happened. And in this movie, it kind of showed why Street Fighter, in my opinion, is kind of hard to do. because even in the live action, the reason I like the live action, getting back to that one real quick, was because in this movie, bro, you kind of realize how ridiculous Street Fighters is. Like the whole premise of Street Fighters is just these guys that fight for some reason, right? And this guys they throw fireballs. Like for example, Bison, well not Bison, Gaio or Guili, whatever you want to call him. He throws he crosses his arms so fast that sonic booms, waves of sonic booms come out. It's really fast air comes out and slashes things and just cuts things. Just think about how ridiculous that is. Like, how the fuck are we gonna put that in a movie? And I feel like this movie kind of was like, yeah, bro, this shit's ridiculous, and we're just gonna have fun with this because most of this shit is just dumb. Like real talk, as a game, it's really good. It's awesome. We're having fun. Boom, bah. I love it. But as a live action, how the fuck are we gonna do that? And I feel like this movie realized that somewhere around writing it, they were like, "Yeah, bro, we can't do this, bro. Like how? We're gonna have to modify the shit out of this thing, and still, it's gonna be hard to come up with ways of doing it. Now, of course, now I think they have better technology and they're gonna be able to do it better if they remake it. But in my opinion, it's still gonna be hard. How do you do that? At least with Mortal Kombat, there's realms where you go to another realm and it makes more sense. That these, for some reason in Mortal Kombat, it makes more sense that these people have these types of powers. But in Street Fighter, this seems to be here. It seems to be in our world. And we're like, it just doesn't make any sense. Now, in my personal opinion, if you're going to do it, if you're going to make these type of powerful people have fireballs and stuff like that, and these types of projectile weapons, energetic projectile weapons, we have to do it in a way where it earns it. We have to earn that Hadouken, and that's gonna take time. And I don't think we could do it in a movie unless we have three movies, in my opinion, or better yet, we make it a series. But before we get to that, let's talk about my number one on the list, which is Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. And I specifically picked this box set because this is the box set where it's uncut, right? There's no covering of body parts or anything like that. So this is the one. This is the one I bought, and I think there was the first one that I saw was on TV, and it was because there's two versions. There's an Asian version, there's an American version, and they're both on the TV ones, right? The American TV version was probably the best one because it had a lot of good music in there. The Asian version was the worst one because the music sucked and it was just bad. It was all around bad sound. Um, and then the best one is the uncut American version. That's the best one, which is this one. This is the box set right here. That's the best one because it's uncut. There's everything, the drawing, everything is good. Chun-Li taking a shower. There you go. and and it keeps the American music, so that's good. Um, but yeah, man, this movie I saw it so many times on TV, and I saw it even more, when I got this one here, and I also saw it in a I believe it was the 30th. I don't know. It was the 15th anniversary. Street Fighter. I think it was in my PlayStation 3, I believe. And yeah, it came with a movie, which is crazy. Shit like that doesn't happen no more. I think video games just don't do that anymore. They just give you the one thing, and then if you want more, you're gonna have to pay extra. $60 for that movie. It's crazy, but it is what it is. Back in the day, they should just throw a movie in there. Like, yeah, here, take this movie. Um, and I believe it was the uncut version too, which is crazy. Yeah, I believe it was the uncut version. Um, but anyways, this movie, man, it's a perfect, in my opinion, the perfect way to do a movie. If you're gonna make a movie, a fighting game movie, this is probably the best one to look at. And even then, it's not perfect, right? Even then, it's not perfect. And you guys have seen this one. This one would probably make my list even for top anime movies. But it's very simple. It gets to the point. It has one of the best opening scenes ever, which is him fighting against Sagat or Sagat. I'm gonna call him Sagat because Sagat sounds kind of I don't know, weird. It just sounds weird. Bob Saget. Did it? Oh my bad, he did die. R.I.P. Bob Saget. But anyways, um, yeah, man, great movie. It starts off with a fight scene between Ryu and Sagat. I mean, and it's pretty much the story of how he got the scar on his chest, which is by an uppercut, Shoryuken by Ryu. There's a good fight scene between him and Bruce Lee, or actually him, Ryu, and Fei Long. Um, Man, it's just a great all around movie, and I think that this also lets us know that if we're going to do this, if we're going to do a live action, it's either going to take three movies, consecutive movies, and it's gonna. And this is what I think. The first movie should be just Ryu joining that first tournament and winning, right? And he should work his way to that Hadouken, meaning the fireball. We have to earn the fireball, and I know that doesn't. It may not click to some people, but to me it is because it's gonna be hard for us to believe in the ability of throwing fireballs. It's a big deal in my opinion, and for people to just be throwing fireballs in the game in the movie is gonna be hard to sell in a live action Street Fighter. I think that they should sell us that fireball. They should make it to where, yeah, this is a forbidden thing or a technique that not a lot of people know how to do it. There's this one guy that used to do it, but he turned evil, and his name is Akuma. If you do what Akuma does, you could turn evil yourself. And then Ryu's gonna be constantly like, should I do it? Should I do it? Should I try it? And he's secretly gonna be, practicing this fireball technique, this Hadouken technique that's kind of forbidden because if he keeps doing it, he could turn evil, right? And then finally, towards the end of the movie, he does it and he wins the tournament with it, right? And everybody talks about it. It's like, oh my God, this one guy used the Hadouken and his eyes kind of glowed and he looked kind of evil when that happened. So he could maybe be evil or something. Who knows? But he wins the tournament, right? And that's pretty much Street Fighter One. That's pretty much him in the first tournament, right? And in that first one, we're gonna meet what's his face, Birdie, right? Kin, um, all of the guys that were in that first Street Fighter, right? And in Street Fighter Two, that's when we start getting all of the newcomers and all of that shit. Like, that's my opinion how it should happen if it was gonna be a movie. So, but the thing is, there's so many characters that you might not be able to do that. Because how many characters is there in Street Fighter One? I really I haven't played it, so I don't know. But you could only play as Ryu, right? You can only play as Ryu or Ken, I believe, right? So I don't know. My point is that it's. I think they should take their time with the first one if they're gonna make it. But if they're not gonna do it that way, they should just make it a series. They should make it an episode type thing, right? and they should put it on Netflix because everybody's gonna be watching it on Netflix, and it's going to promote the Street Fighter Six game. Now, to promote the Street Fighter Six game is gonna be kind of hard because if we're gonna go way back to the beginning to Street Fighter One, then the game, the Street Fighter Six game, isn't gonna be as promoted unless the storyline takes place in Street Fighter Six, meaning unless it's like Ryu's son talking to Fei Lin from Street Fighter Six and Chun Li, and and his son is kind of trying to get the backstory of Ryu, which was used to be his father or whatever, or is his father, and then that will bring in Street Fighter Six as a story baseline, and then they could be like, "Oh yeah, I remember your father used to be this, that, and the other." And then the vision goes back, and they start to remember, Street Fighter One. So maybe it could be like that, and that's how you get Street Fighter Six into the storyline. But that's just my opinion, guys. Let me know what you guys think. But hopefully they get back on track with this, and hopefully, I don't know. I feel like they need to go back to like Kumite times, like when the '80s was a good time to make martial arts movies. I think I made another video talking about what I think the vibes should be for the Street Fighter movie, and I think it should be something like Bloodsport um, vibes, you know. But anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you.